Hello and thank you for purchasing my dog sweater pattern. This video will give you some tips on how you can adjust the sizing to suit your dog. First of all, I made this little gauge swatch which is in the pattern. It measures 6 centimeters across and 5.5 centimeters down, so this will be really useful in helping you to adjust your sizing. First of all, we're going to have a look at the back panel of the sweater. If you wanted to adjust the sizing of this, say you wanted to make it longer, you could use those measurements on the gauge swatch to add in some extra rows. So say you wanted to add in 2 centimeters, you could simply just add in maybe 3 rows at the bottom and 1 up the top, which would help you to match the 2 centimeters on that gauge swatch. If you wanted to make it smaller, you can do the same thing by just removing rows, either the bottom or the top or both, it's up to you. Depends where you want this skull to sit. You can simply do that by going onto the Stitch Fiddle link and adding or removing rows on there. If you wanted to make the graph wider, you can do the same by adding rows on either side. So again, logging onto the Stitch Fiddle grid, and say you wanted to add 2 centimeters onto the width of the back panel, you can simply add 2 rows on each side, and that would give you approximately 2 centimeters. And when we're looking at the chest panel, if you wanted to make it wider across, you would just use the same method by calculating how many centimeters you wanted to add, and then adding on the chains using the gauge. So say I've done 21 across here, but I wanted it to be 2 centimeters wider, I would just add an extra 4 chains at the start, which would help me to add that width. With the length, I have put in the pattern that this is really dependent on your dog, because if they're male or female, you're going to want different lengths here. So it's probably best that you measure your dog and how long you want it. You can do that with a tape measure, or you can just grab the paddle and keep placing it underneath to see the desired length, and then just continue it down for as long as you want. With the neck ribbing, there's a few ways you can adjust the size there. If you wanted it to be for a thicker neck, instead of doing your single crochet slip stitch times 2, you could just simply do a single crochet and slip stitch and then continue the pattern. Or you could even alternate where you did a single crochet, 2 slip stitch, single crochet, 1 slip stitch, and continue that pattern around. And that would just give you a wider neck. Same if you wanted to make it a slimmer neck, you could simply do single crochet, slip stitch 3, single crochet, slip stitch 3. Or you might even again alternate by doing the single crochet, slip stitch 2, and then a single crochet, slip stitch 3. It might not make sense now, but when you're reading the pattern, you'll see how the pattern goes, like progresses through the ribbing, and that will all make sense to you. As well, you can also adjust the height of the ribbing on both the bottom and the neck simply by adding more chains when you first start. So for example, on here I've chained 7 and then single crocheted 6 in the back loops. You could chain 9 and then single crochet 8 in the back loops, which would just make it that little bit taller, and same with down the bottom as well. So the pattern is quite adjustable to size. You can edit both the chest and the back panel to make it fit your dog, because I know there's some really slinky dogs like the Italian Greyhounds, and then some really wide dogs, especially in the chest, like the Staffies. I hope that helps, and if you have any questions, you can comment on this video, or you're welcome to reach out to me on my socials at Laxa Crochet. Thank you.